All right. Morning, everybody. I'd like to open the meeting at 9:01 and thank you for your attendance. We have Councillor Burkett online this morning. Morning, John.
Morning, everyone.
All right, and I'd like to say welcome to Linda in the gallery. Nice to have some company this morning. Thank you. Okay, let's go. Confirmation of the minutes of the ordinary meeting on the 12th of December 2024. Do I have a mover? Councillor Surat.
I move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on 12th December 2024 be confirmed.
Have a seconder? Councillor Brompton. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Can I have someone move the minutes of the special meeting held on the 20th of December 2024? Councillor Vincent.
I move that the minutes of the special meeting held on the 20th of December 2024 be confirmed.
Seconder, Councillor Seawright. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. And the minutes of the special meeting held on the 22nd of January 2025. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I move that the minutes of the special meeting held on the 22nd of January 2025 be confirmed.
Seconded by Councillor Hancock. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 8.1. Oops, hang on, I've got to find it first. Request for policy development enhancement of community engagement for roadworks. Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move that Council 1 develop a policy aimed at enhancing community consultation, which will outline processes to seek and consider feedback from local residents prior to commencing roadworks, ensure that affected communities are informed about the scope, timing and potential impacts of works well in advance, provide mechanisms to address and incorporate local concerns and suggestions into the project planning and execution phases, and 2, consider a draft policy in upcoming council briefing day.
Seconded by Councillor Vincent. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
Yeah, thanks very much.
I just got questions.
Yep.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Just a question first, Councillor. Is this? I'm in favour of this, but I just want to know: is this through staff and also through media and stuff like that? It's not at our level. It's business as usual. Those sort of communication lines. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, it's directly communicating with landowners.
Not us, as councillors. As
not
in
us
staff.
going out and about, just staff and communication at that level.
That's correct.
Thank you.
I have a further follow-up question. Where does this fit with regard to I know they haven't been in operation for some time, but the committees that we had in various areas with regard to road maintenance, road works, things like that, where is this in comparison?
They don't exist, and that they were removed from council's engagement processes in the term in which you weren't here.
So why can't those committees, if it was to be moved at this council, be resurrected?
Well, they can.
I just interject?
Well, I'll answer the question first. I think that's part of a broader policy discussion.
I think the road advisory group was in the term before last term. Actually, it wasn't in ours. It was taken away.
No, that's not right, Councillor Burkett. They existed in that term between 16 and 20. It was Councillor Stanford had the portfolio of roads, and she was the chair of those committees. It was the last term that they were removed.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll agree to disagree.
Well, you can do that, Councillor Burkett, but the fact is that it was the last term that removed it because it was Councillor Stanford in that term. The one term that she was a councillor, she chaired those committees.
Councillor Hancock.
Thank you. My question is, my question is the fact that this is just aiming to develop an open communication. This is a question to you, Councillor Neil. This is aiming to develop an open communication line between our staff and the landholders on which they're grading the roads at that time. We've talked about this before, isn't it?
Well,
This is all that you're trying to achieve here, is to get some history about the best way to grade that road and what the actual people who live on that road and travel on that road agree. Is that what we're trying to achieve?
100%, Councillor Hancock. I suppose if I was given the opportunity to speak to the motion, which I nearly was about to, I would address those things.
Would you like to now?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. For some time, we have received feedback from local landowners, both as a collective council and as individual councillors, and I know that many of you sitting around this table now have had those conversations with landowners, that they would like to be engaged as council does road maintenance, upgrades, improvements, capital upgrades on our road network. And we need that local knowledge. They want to impart that local knowledge, and it's something that has been done loosely. It's never been in a formal policy of council that this is how we're going to operate. And I bring this forward today because I think it should. We need a robust discussion around what that policy looks like, how it would work. But the essence is having a very open line of communication before works start, during works, and what the expectations of councils are to deliver, road maintenance and upgrades, and what our community expects, and see if we can get somewhere where they match. And if they don't, then we need to communicate why. We all know that we've got the third largest road network of any local government in the state, and the two above us are, significantly higher in population and can amass, revenue to be able to reinvest off their own bat. Where for us, it's a little bit tougher. We're a smaller population, but we've got a huge area. And I think having a policy that will work directly with landowners to not just talk about their understanding of the roads that they traverse all the time, but it'll allow us to have the conversations around access to gravel, to water, and do that in a consistent way across the region. Because what I hear is that there's some areas that do it better than others within the Maranoa. Well, let's have a consistent approach, and the only way we're going to do that is if council nuts out a policy, both with our input from the elected representative side, but probably more importantly from our staff that are going to be the ones to implement the projects of council. We need that to come together to get the right policy, or we're going to be sitting here in a year's time or 4 years' time, and we're going to have the same conversations with our residents that works are happening across the region, and they're not having the input that they expect and that they really want to provide to council. So this is just the start. There's a few dot points that I've provided in the resolution to kick the conversation off. But I have no doubt that once we start developing this as a policy, the staff will bring back a draft, we will put our own flavour to it.
Anyone like to speak against?
Yeah, I'm going to speak against the motion. I'm not against the process of the motion. I think that the intent of the motion, or not the intent of the motion, but the actual motion itself, can provide us as councillors with an out and put the blame back on the staff. And I don't have any problem with the staff having communication with the landholders. I do have a problem with the end result of that communication. I'm not totally sure that we should be putting that much pressure on our staff.
Anyone like to speak for? Councillor Vincent.
I will. Oh, sorry.
I'm fully supportive of this motion. We do have this in our operational plan this year. We've heard about it through campaigning, through our budget forums. Everyone is crying out for some communication on these roads. They feel they do have some knowledge to impart, and it can come down to savings as well, because you often hear, oh, I wish they'd just touched up those gullies and left the rest of the road. Well, they're the kinds of conversations that might come out with this policy. I think it just gives us that little bit of strategic direction on how we would like to see the communication rolled out. We do get, as a landholder, you do get the knock on the door, have you got any water? And that's about all that's asked. So it would be just that little bit more conversation, I suppose, around it. So I'm fully supportive of it.
Thank you. Anyone else against?
Sorry, I'm for, Wendy, sorry.
You can go now, councillor.
Yeah, I do take on board Councillor Flynn's. It can be, it could work both ways negatively with staff, like the blame, but also as long as they don't overstep with any information or promises, stuff like that. I've been fully supportive of this since I got in 2020. Little things more so when a patrol grader is down on a road, they can talk to the landowner where the last rain event was, so they know where the water was running from. And also between the grader drivers, I pushed for, whether it was just an information pack or an iPad, that when a grader driver takes over from someone that's been doing it for a number of years, that they don't go and open drains up or closed for a reason, or vice versa, because there were some issues south of Mitchell a few years ago in that regard, where they were opened up from the previous grader driver. I do think that it is vital to have that communication with the landowners, and I think at that lower level, it's probably easier for those guys to do. And also, in regards to the water, I know in incidents where water trucks were travelling 100 kilometres to get water, when that we probably could have approached a landowner that just right there to use their bore. I spoke to a bloke about 10 years ago, and I said if they upgraded the bore, would he let him use for roadworks? He said not a problem at all. So, so I'm fully supportive. The road advisory group, going on the guys that were on that, I've spoken to several of those, and they didn't work. They were all passionate about their roads, but the advisory groups, in their minds, didn't work. But fully supportive of this motion.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Brumpton.
Yes, I would like to speak for as well. As other councillors have said, this issue has been raised in campaigning and in our budget discussions when we ran around, and ad hoc discussions with landholders. So I think anything we can do to open that channel of communication and use the expertise of those landholders, who are the ones using the roads all of the time, it's got to be beneficial. And we can work through how the process would work. That's the whole idea about developing the policy, and where escalation points are if things need to come to council or whatever. But so I think that might help resolve some of the issues that Councillor Flynn raised as well, because it is developing the policy and making sure, and if it's not working, we review it.
Yeah, exactly. Councillor Hancock.
I'm fully supportive of this policy being drafted and brought back to council, because I think, as Councillor O'Neill said, it is a starting point. We've heard in our campaign, well, actually we've heard in our last two campaigns, how important roads are to our community. So by no means do I think that this policy is going to fix all the issues that we have with roads. It is just a starting point on one issue that has been raised. So it is just this isn't a whole of roads policy. This is just a policy on ensuring that us as council are communicating with the local landowners, and that we are making sure we go out and we have get the knowledge that they hold. And also, as Councillor Burkett said, what I really like about this, it's succession planning. We're being smart, we're succession planning. If that grader driver is no longer doing that road, there will be something that can be handed on to the next grader driver. And I think it's long overdue that we start doing this process, and that we plan for the future of our council and being able to hand on that information that our landholders have. They are just waiting to be asked. So I am fully supporting the drafting of this policy, and look forward to having more conversations when it comes back to the table.
Anyone else like to speak? I'd like to speak, but I haven't got anything left to say because everybody's said everything. And it would just be nice that the next time we go to a community forum, that it's not about roads. Like let's talk about something else for a change. And I don't blame them. We all know the whole story, and we've been marking time for the last 4 years on this. So for us to be able to get started, and as everybody said, it's a policy that will be drafted, and we can work it, and it also gives our staff the direction that they know that this council wants to go in. So fully supportive of this as well. Would you like to sum up, councillor?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mayor. I mean, at the very basic level, this is just the first step. There is no policy. It doesn't exist. This was to start the process for councillors to frame how they want that engagement to occur. So I strongly urge all councillors to support this today. We have heard very clearly and loudly at times from our residents that they want to be engaged when council is undertaking works on their roads. This is what this policy will do. It is about building a partnership between the road users and council. I do think having a formal policy where our staff will consistently across the region, when they are undertaking works, will engage with the landowners is a positive step in the right direction. I strongly refute the idea that this is opening up an opportunity for councillors to pass the buck. I've seen that. I have seen that happen in public forums where there have been criticism about works that councils undertaken on roads, and elected representatives have quickly said, that's operational, that's not us. This policy, if we adopt a policy, it's owned by this room, right? If it fails, it's owned by this room. If it works, it's owned by this room. And if it isn't working, the policy is ours to amend, to ensure that it is going to achieve what we needed to achieve, and that is to have that strong communication between council and our rural ratepayers and the works that they expect and need to happen on their roads. I thank all the positive comments that have occurred today. I think this is a step in the right direction, and I think the community have been yelling at us that this is what they want. I look forward to this policy coming back fairly quickly at a briefing so we can advance this and this become how council operates going forward.
Thank you.
Mayor, can I just make a comment on Councillor O'Neill's comments?
No,
I'm maybe
summed
not
up.
allowed to, but
Go for it, Peter.
I would like to refute one of the points that Councillor O'Neill made there with regard to councillors passing the buck in previous councils. I don't believe that we should be going back to that. When I got back on this council in March last year, my idea was to go forward from where we were. And I don't feel that the comment made by Councillor O'Neill is in the best interests of people like myself as a councillor on this council.
Thank you. We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
Against? 8-1. 8.2, Small Business Month, May 2025.
Madam Mayor, my apologies, Kel, but I'd like to declare a conflict.
I can't hear you.
I'd like to declare a conflict.
Oh, sorry. Yep, okay.
Apologies, Kel. Madam Mayor, I'd like to declare a conflict on item 8.2, Small Business Month, May 2025. Declaring councillor is myself. Person with interest is Surat Post News Proprietary Limited, which is owned by my husband Graham Hancock and myself. Particulars of interest is Surat Post and News Proprietary Limited is a small business in the Maranoa. And type of conflict is declarable conflict of interest. And although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias, as we are one of many small businesses in the Maranoa and the matter is not relating to our business, it's relating to a small business month. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Somebody got some words? Councillor Brompton.
I move that is in the public interest that Councillor Hancock participates and votes on agenda item 8.2 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Have a seconder? Councillor Seawright. All those in favour?
Can we talk this
Mayor,
out?
I can't,
Because
but I'll have to do the
in any
same.
capacity, we may be a small business. If you have a property, a cattle producing property, so the way I interpreted it, and if I can get some background from my council, is I have a local business in town, but is that the matter? The matter is just investigating initiatives and networking opportunities.
Rob?
Yeah, that's why I've read it there too. You haven't actually specified actually nominated any of the businesses there. Was the reports, Councillor Davis's reports is around initiatives and networking opportunities. Obviously, Roma Commerce, Brenga Action Group are mentioned there, but in terms of small businesses there, it's no actual.
Well, we've all got a small business.
And I suppose when you think about it,
What made you decide to do that?
because I have a retail main front small business, and so that's why I just felt from a public perception, I'm probably more visible as that. But I take on your point, I actually wasn't thinking when you think about that, and our agricultural side of things, they are all small businesses. So probably, Councillor O'Neill, you might be able to help me here when you think about what is that about more of the sector. Oh, what is that wording? I'm sorry, I'm struggling to remember it, but it's a more of the sector. What is that wording?
Yeah, I know what you're talking
Should
about.
be-
I think you overthought it.
That's okay, and that's okay if councillors, but I just, for me, because I have a very visible retail, Main Street, small business, I just wanted to put it to the room.
And I don't know if I can vote on that now though.
Well, you can,
Because
unless
I
you're.
don't, my perception is, my stance is that it's unified.
Should we
and
get
no
legal
budget.
advice on this?
In terms of whether you think you could vote or not, it's if you are going to declare your own conflict of interest,
No,
Then
you can vote. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Is the interest unique to the councillor or a related party or widely shared by others in the community? as
That's
well?
right, yeah, it's a widely shared vote, yeah. So the sector is big enough, it's not a small sector, and that's what we talked about before, but.
And I understand why you did it, Councillor Hancock, because in past when we have done targeted campaigns around, and Small Business Month and whatever, they have been targeted at retail businesses.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yep, thank you.
All right, so we got up to having a vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I'd like to move that Council 1 develops initiatives and networking events around the region in support of Small Business Month in May. 2, consults the Roma Commerce and Tourism Association, Beringa Action Group and any other commerce groups active in the smaller towns. 3, seek grant opportunities such as the Regional Networker Grant or other grants to assist with the financial delivery of these events. 4, be provided with Number 4, be provided a report with details including budget costings via a portfolio meeting and subsequent council briefing.
Have a seconder. Councillor Hancock. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
Yes, I'll try. Queensland is home to more than 482,000 small businesses, and 97% of all businesses are small business. So, and the Maranoa is no different. I think that this is a good opportunity to highlight and celebrate our businesses and also add to their business by providing opportunities to show off their business and networking events for the month of May. And I think that this is something that council should take a lead on. And that's basically that in a nutshell. So,
Okay, anyone like to speak against? Anyone else like to speak for? Councillor Hancock.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I'm fully supportive of this recommendation. Small businesses are a lot of the times the lifeblood of communities, and I just thank Councillor Davis for bringing this forward to actually try and develop some initiatives and networking for our small business communities. I know that we already do have some networking events through across the region at different parts of the year, but it's really nice that if Small Business Month is in May, that we recognise our small businesses in the month of May along with the Small Business Month across the state. So I'm looking forward to some of the exciting ideas that might be coming forward from our staff.
Can I just ask the grant opportunity? There is a grant out there for it, isn't there, Councillor?
previously there has been. It opens in February every year, so I can't say that there will be a grant this year, but there may be other funding opportunities. And I don't think it needs to be a massive event with a big price tag. It's just taking that opportunity to highlight and see what we can do.
Yeah, very good.
We might even be able to use some of our local businesses. We have a lot of stars in our own region, so we might be able to give them an opportunity.
Yeah, no. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, Amber?
No, I think I'm good, thank you.
All right, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 11.1, Annual Review of the Delegation of Council Powers to the position of Chief Executive Officer. Councillor Brumpton.
I move that Council 1 confirms the annual review of the delegations to the Chief Executive Officer pursuant to Section 2575 of the Local Government Act 2009. 2, confirms that the current delegations to the Chief Executive Officer for the legislation contained in this report will remain unchanged from this review. 3, approve that the register be published on Council's external website.
Have a seconder? Councillor Seawright, would you like to speak, Councillor?
No, I've read the report, thank you, that was tabled. Obviously, we get information from an external party about the changes to any need for delegations, and they've been reviewed. I do note that we've said the current delegations remain unchanged, but we've actually added 4. So I don't know whether we actually need to change that wording. From this review, it will.
Just might be a bit, sorry, the wording might
Yeah,
be a bit confusing, but from this review, we won't change them until it comes back to council again.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it means.
Okay. As long as we're okay that wording is correct. No. Okay. Sorry, I know so much about this. But thank you. I've just taken you on, there's a lot of delegations there, and there's no way I was going to read through all those acts and see what was required and what wasn't required, but no, thank you.
Anyone else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 11.2.2, Monthly Financial Report as of the 30th of November 2024. Do I have a mover? Councillor Brumpton.
I move that Council receive and note the monthly financial report for the period ending 30th of November 2024.
I have a seconder. Councillor Hancock. Does anyone have any questions?
I think I'll leave mine to the December report, considering it's the more up-to-date report. We've got 2 months of reports in this meeting.
And the one I had it all written on is in my office. This is it. I had a draft copy as well. No, it doesn't matter. Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Yes, it was too.
Excuse me.
Can I ask about the wages for the airport, please?
I can do that.
What page number, Madam Mayor?
I'm on page 67.
Should I leave the room?
That's up to you.
The matters, the wages for the staff,
Leave
I
the room
don't,
Given yesterday's discussion.
Well, we have to declare it.
you can't just leave.
Walk out.
You
It's a
can't.
process.
We'll have to.
It's okay. I think I know that.
He wouldn't have to leave the room.
Or wouldn't have thought so.
We've asked questions before.
Yeah.
It's just a question around the
It's just a
the budget,
question.
I think, councillor, so.
Yeah, please, Dean, sorry.
No, that's all right. I think the questions around why the wages compared to the actuals of either budget. So we've had an opportunity to have a bit of a look at that. Essentially, with the budget being loaded, instead of being loaded evenly for the whole month, what we've found is that for some reason we're still trying to work out is that 45% of the total budget is loaded into the June account. So the actuals, as we track each month, there's actuals v the budget. That's why the percentage looks like our wages for year to date are over the budget. If we were to rectify the issue where it's sitting, instead of having 45% of the budget loaded at the last month and spread it back through the all of it, we're sitting at about 55% for about 50-something% of the year to date. I haven't explained that very well by the
No,
looks of
I
that.
don't
No,
understand that.
no, you're right. This
Okay.
is November, because I'm thinking, well, you know, we've had some big sales this year,
Yes.
but like to get 51,459 in actuals and it should be budgeted for 29, how could you get that so wrong?
Because the budget number should be, so the actuals you said is 51. If the budget was loaded properly for the whole year, the budget year to date would have been about 51 as well.
And why isn't it loaded properly?
We don't know.
Short of someone else explaining that. But essentially, instead of being whatever 100% divided by 12, so each month, it's 7% across the board, and then you get to the last month in June and it's 45%.
So you look good in June.
Well, it's just that we need to rectify that and balance it. But
Okay.
what I'm saying, sorry, Mayor, is that
You're right.
fundamentally, for year, as in right today, we're sitting at about 55% of our budget for salaries spent, and we're sitting at about 55% of the year gone.
Yeah.
So it's a miscalculation on the report that needs to be rectified.
Okay, righto.
So I think on this, we've had this discussion on a number of items. All we can hope is this current new financial year with the new regime in place, we're going to be a little bit more careful with how our budgets are loaded and make sure the budgets actually anticipate where, and we've had this with other expenditure as well, and obviously I've had conversations with Brett since he's commenced around this. There's obviously more work to be done to make sure we're actually loading our budget related to where our expenditure hits.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'll just leave mine for now too, and I'll wait for December as well, if you like. Anyone else have any questions? Okay, we'll go to the vote for this one for November. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 11.3, monthly financial report as of the 31st of December 2024. Councillor Brompton.
I move that Council receive and note the monthly financial report for the period ending 31st of December 2024.
Seconder. Councillor Davis. Questions? Councillor Brompton.
Okay, I got a large shock when I saw our year-to-date position when I first saw this report, which raised with me where you can read through the report and try to get an answer as to why we're suddenly so far over-expended, which is around the claiming for the Event 13, 15 and 16 floods. I would really like to see an exec summary on these reports so that there is a clear indication at the start of the report. Our budget position as at the end of this month is whatever. It was expected to be whatever. The reason that it's not is whatever. And then when that is taken into account, next month we expect to see. So when we get to even the explanation around the flood restoration work where it says, we'll have finalisation of the events, which is on page 74, it doesn't give a value. So to give us some confidence that we're actually going to pull that back, I would like to see in that report, and you can have all the detail further down, but we really need an exact summary at the start so we can understand where that's from, and I'd like to see a value, and if I can even ask now what that value is going to be approximately, so we know where we're going to be sitting.
So can I just ask on that? Because that figure is then in materials and services, isn't it? Like, that's where is that where that is?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can it be separated?
Well, we've had this discussion as well, because materials and services, the way our budget is loaded, I only discovered a couple of weeks ago, there is no subset under materials and services.
Oh,
So hopefully next financial year we will actually have some subsets under materials and services that might give us a clearer
sort of
indication.
smiling for what reason?
Thank you, Mayor, through the chair. It's just we have been having discussions to improve this report. So yes, it's known, and we are planning on making those improvements.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know it's a big piece of work, but we just need to keep working with the team and,
Yeah.
and try and get this.
It is a large piece of work,
Yeah.
but we will work on it.
Yeah.
So do you have an idea of the value of what that,
Yeah.
and how that will make us sit?
Can I come back to you on that? Yeah.
What was the answer?
Can I circle back to you on that?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
During the meeting?
You can do. Yep.
Yeah.
Can do.
So do you want to lay it on the table until you have that?
Or we just go through it in case there's other questions
Yeah.
as well. My next question is about the capital expenditure, and we've got a conversion rate of only 20% of the capital program, and the November one was only 16. And again, it says it's expected it will increase significantly in early mid-2025. I assume we're not going to hit 100%. It would be good to know what that expected increase is going to be with those large projects. It looks like.
Councillor, sorry, Ken.
No, that's okay, Mayor. Thanks very much. Ideally, we've obviously got our Q2 review to complete, and we've identified a large amount of projects that are multi-year projects that were adopted across the financial year. We are continually working to get some advice on the best way to account for these larger projects that are going to span multiple years. Absolutely, as we stand at the moment, we'll not expend 100% if we leave all of the projects on the program in the current financial year. But we have a number of projects, Surat Road, Boland Road, Redford Road, that are expected to take more than the next 6 months to deliver, and even at the time of 1st of July to deliver. It's just the sheer nature of them. Also sitting in the capital works programs, a budgeted amount of around $20 million for the Denise Spencer Pool upgrade, that again, we've just got to get our cash flow reporting correctly, and that. So working with Brett and Fleur on this, we had to adopt them at Q1 so that the projects were fully adopted and recognised and committed from council, but their duration, that we have got a report on the 7th of February, or the first council meeting in February, which is a Q2 update, which makes recommendations to, it shouldn't be the terminology defer, it's just accurately reflecting the time frame that these projects, I can provide some advice on exactly what that number would be in advance, but it'll be, the context will be provided at the that first meeting in February. Ideally, it would be good to align these two so that the amendment was adopted before this, but this is obviously to the end of December, and that. So more than happy to have probably a more detailed discussion at that first meeting in February on that, if council is still concerned around the capital works expenditure. But it has been a problem for the last few years, and it is contributing to what looks to be a large carryover. But when we are making commercial engagements to contractors, at the moment our position is staff need the confidence that council has the approved budget, even if it is to be delivered across 2 years in the current year, so we're not binding council. But we are getting advice on the best way to manage that so that we don't have these big expenditure it looks like our expenditure is below. So, but yeah, that again, it's not the specifics. If you just afford us the next meeting, we would have the detail with that. But it is a significant amount of projects that realistically, even at the 1st of July, $20 million of Denise Spencer Pool was probably never going to be expended by 30 June. But it's just how we've budgeted for it to have the commitment in there. But there's got to be a better way to account for this and present this, so it doesn't. We're not setting ourselves up to fail in promising $100 million of capital works and realistically delivering 40 or 50, which is probably what time frame would have allowed. So that's the background. But there's definitely opportunity for a much broader discussion. Next, ideally, they should have been in both meetings, but it's just we've had a gap there. So.
Thanks, Ken.
Got one more, and I know it's probably going to preempt one that you're going to ask, so I'll jump in.
After you.
The Air BP leases, month on month, we're being told these are being finalised. Now, I understand from previous months this goes back to like April 2024, and we've got revenue that's outstanding because of it. I just don't know how much longer this can go on for, and why we're hitting a roadblock with these.
Page.
Oh, sorry, it's talked about on page 74. And it obviously affects the revenue budget of the airport.
Mayor, I can address that if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Councillor. I am mindful around there are negotiations ongoing with those companies, and there's probably some, I'm mindful around that we're in open, and there's probably some commercial and confidence matters. So I'm mindful about how I explain this. What I will say is that we're continuing to negotiate those leases. As part of that negotiation, though, what I can say, well, I'm mindful about this part, is that part of those negotiations identify the being backdated to April 24. So once we finalise those contract negotiations and settle on the terms and the lease amounts, the agreement is to be backdated to 2024. So we will catch up that shortfall in the revenue.
I suppose the issue is we're now nearly in February 2025, so we've been without a lease for
And have they had a lease
10
previous?
months.
Yeah.
So if they've had, how long have they been there? Years?
Yes.
So have they had a lease previous? So what's the hold up with, like, what's the problem with this lease that they're holding themselves back on?
I'm not exactly sure per se, Mayor, but what I'll say is that at least one of them's a large multinational company, and the timeframes and the turnaround for some of that has been challenging. I don't have that necessarily the exact detail, and again, I'm mindful around the commercial nature of the discussion, so I'm happy to brief council about
I
that.
think we need a separate brief because we can't be held to ransom whether they're a big company or a small company. If they don't have a lease on our premises and it's been going on for so long, maybe we need to get some legal advice or get stronger in what we're doing. Yeah. But yeah, maybe a separate
I just
briefing.
can't see what the problem could possibly be, but there obviously is a problem, but it needs to be looked at a bit
Understand.
harder.
Yeah.
That'll do me. Leave
Well,
others.
I'm on page 79. If everybody would go to page 79, please.
Thank you.
And you'll see the rates outstanding balance of December 2024. And you'll see in 2023 it was $10 million. And in 2024 it's 2.4. So I congratulate the staff. I congratulate Deb on that. I know how hard she works for the last however many years she's been here, I don't know. But I think that's just an amazing job on her part. So thank you for that. And now I'm on page 85. And I'm at the sale yards, Daniel. And I get that the employees' costs would be down because December we would have been closed over a period of time, like when we finished, or did we finish early? Well, we would have missed a couple of months anyway. But your materials and services, like between the budget and the actual year, like there's $400,000 there.
Thank you and good morning, everyone. So the main discrepancies, so you can see on the percentage wise of the materials and services there, that's up around the 62%. And then, but also on the fees and charges on the revenue side is around the 64%. So there's been a number of contributing factors to the materials and services, but essentially we've done about 180,000 cattle to date. So we're looking at, we're above of where we think we would have been at this stage of the year. So our materials and services paying the services cattle movement contractor, that they have gone up because we have made more money with higher throughput to this date. So that's been a large contributor of why that is above where it would have been tracking there.
So when we pay the contractors, that's materials and services, that's not employees' costs?
No, that's materials and services. So that's a dollar rate per head. So as the throughput goes up, our costs go up, but also our revenue goes up. We've also done a bit more unexpected maintenance on the truck wash this year as well. So that's also contributed to the materials and services.
And the truck wash revenue comes in under other revenue, does it?
It would come in under other
revenue?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But as far as the materials and services, it's all
one
grouped together.
Can I just follow up on that one, Dan, just with the use of the words over budget on track? So the revenue's on track at 64% over, but the expenditure's over budget at 62%.
So that's probably an error on my behalf there. They both should be indicating the same. The issue we have is that while we try and make minimal changes until Q3 is because while we have enjoyed great throughput, seasonal or market conditions could change, and that just because we have been seeing high throughput doesn't mean that we will necessarily for the remainder of the year. So it could increase, could decrease, but.
Thank you. Has anyone got any other questions?
No, that was my question.
Meryl's asked my question about flood money, so.
So on that, can I move that this be laid on the table for later in the meeting to get the answer on where our expected acquittal?
Yep. All those in favour? We're just laying this one on the table. John, are you in favour?
Yes, I was just waiting for the vote to be called. Yeah, yes.
Yep. Thank you.
You couldn't call the vote because you hadn't.
Yeah, he didn't hear it.
Did you call the vote then?
8-0. Sorry. 9-0. Sorry. Got it. 11.4. Is that what I'm up to? Yep. 2024-25 Q2 Progress Report. Operational Plan to the 31st of December 2024. Do I have a mover? Is that me again? Councillor O'Neill.
I move the council receive and note the 2024-25 Q2 report, to endorse the Q2 report as presented in accordance with section 1047 of the Local Government Act 2009, and 3, publish the Q2 report on council's website.
Seconded by Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
Thanks, Mayor. We obviously had a opportunity to go through this in great detail across our briefing yesterday. Thanks to the staff for the work that they're putting in. I think this has been a good quarter report. There's obviously some work to be done to refine that to get the level of detail the councillors are after, but I think it is a step in the right direction, and I look forward to Q3 report with those refinements.
Anybody else like to speak? Councillor Brumpton.
I'd like to thank the staff too. This has been a work in progress, and we're nearly there with it meeting the needs of what this current council wants. So thank you for the work that you've done to date, and a few minor amendments to the layout and some of the way things are reported. I think great, very helpful to council compared with what we'd first been presented with. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Grace. All right, anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, Councillor?
No, thank you.
Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 14.1, proposal from Red Ridge Interior Queensland Western Touring Circuit. Do I have a mover?
Who's taking carriage of this?
So Jamie is.
Oh,
I think Tennille is also on her way up, but don't get to field any questions. Deputy Mayor?
Danielle's coming, is she?
She is, but I'm happy
Oh,
to.
yeah. Well, this might be difficult, Jamie, she might not be across it, but I just want to know what they've done in the past locally. I'm not familiar with Red Ridge. Before we make a decision that we're going to be part of the Western Touring Circuit.
Yep. I'll just, if you like, I'll just let Tennille know that it's up.
Yeah.
But I can also speak to that, I suppose, from my time in Merway, because I did have oversight of this one there, and Merway is also a part of this touring group. But I suppose what they do is looking at collaborative efforts to coordinate arts and events across the western areas, so primarily the Rapid and Southwest councils. And I suppose it's leveraging collaboratively to access tour groups and arts coordination events that you wouldn't have access to if you weren't part of that circuit.
We haven't had it. We haven't been part of it since 2022.
No, we joined it in 2022.
Oh, so the Wolfgangs and the Dirty Fame Flash Candle Club in Roma happened in 22. We're in 25 now. What's happened in the other years?
So there are, I think, some statistics that have been included in the.
Or is this the one that goes to schools? No?
I don't recall,
And I'm sorry, it's in my portfolio and I have no idea.
like, from an RADF point of view, I don't recall this from maybe we do need to lay it on Tamil to Neil,
Yep.
like with all due respect.
Red Ridge is not.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
No.
What was called?
So council, sounds like just a list of the actual programs being conducted in the last 3 years.
And probably to understand what the feedback was from the people that attended, whether this is any good. Because there was one year where and it wasn't this group because it's not familiar, it was some how to recycle kids stage show, and I just wouldn't get them back.
Just
But the
another
messaging's
question.
just not right,
Yep. Sorry, Councillor O'Neill. Another of my question was the 3,000 proposed. What GL is that being drawn from? Is it sponsorship or is it your operating budget? If we can find that out as well.
I'll move we lay this on the table till later in the meeting.
Seconder? Oh, do I need a second? No. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. We're up to closed. Someone move, we're going to closed.
Can I just
No.
declare a conflict, Madam Mayor?
Oh, yep, thank you. Councillor
I'd like to declare a conflict on item C7. Description is the Maranoa Christmas Street Party post-event report. The declaring councillor is myself, Amber Davis. The person with the interest is myself and my husband, Wayne Davis. The particulars are that we own and operate Bessie's Ice Cream Bus and we attended the event. It's a declarable conflict of interest and I will leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on.
Thank you. Councillor Brumpton.
Same item, C7, Maranoa Christmas Street Party post-event report. The declaring council is myself. The person with the interest is myself. The particulars of the interest, my employer, West Wind Energy, was a sponsor of this event and is mentioned in the report. It's a declarable conflict of interest. I was going to stay in the room, so I'll put this to the room. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I'll respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Anybody want to ask any questions on this one?
Only.
I'm I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Brumpton participates and votes on agenda item C7 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Have a seconder?
I've just realised I have a conflict as well, so I can't vote on this one.
You got a conflict as well? Okay. So you won't vote on this though? Do I have a seconder for Councillor Brumpton? Councillor Hancock? All those in favour?
Do you have a question, Councillor Vincent?
No, I'm good.
You right?
Yeah.
All those in favour?
Yes.
6-0. Councillor Surat.
I wish to declare a conflict of interest. I didn't realise this until now. We have some words. Sorry, Cal. I really didn't realise this one. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest on item C7, description of Maranoa Christmas Street Party post-event report. Declaring councillor is myself, Brendan Surat. The particulars of interest is my wife. How do I put it? She held a stall at the street party, and I guess she's a. How do you put words to that?
That's it.
Yeah,
That's
I
it.
held a stall
That's it.
at the street party.
That's it.
It's a I guess it's a prescribed conflict of interest.
The matter at
matter.
hand.
It's a
Declarable.
Thank you, guys. It's a declarable conflict of interest. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Someone with some words? Councillor O'Neill.
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Seawright participates and votes on agenda item C7 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
A seconder? Councillor Vincent. All those in favour?
Yes.
6-0. Can I have someone move us into closed? Councillor Hancock.
In accordance with the provisions of section 254J3 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, that council resolved to close the meeting to the public to discuss at 10 o'clock, 9:59 to 10 o'clock, or 9:59, to discuss confidential items that its councillors consider is necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides the matters to be discussed and an overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. Agenda item C1, request waiver of gas reconnection fee 50001684. C2, request for extension to rate payment arrangement 140111738. C3, request for extension to make payment 13007794. C4, tender award bore 21 Reservoir Roma. C5, Denise Spencer Memorial Pool Management Agreement. C6, Quarry Business January 2025 Report. C7, Maranoa Christmas Street Party Post-Event Report. C8, Surat Unoccupied State Land.
Have a seconder? Councillor Vincent. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Thank you, Linda. Zero. Zara, you right? Okay. Someone want to move? Councillor Brumpton.
I move that item C7 Maranoa Street Christmas Party post-event report be moved into open session.
Seconded by Councillor O'Neill. All those in favour?
Yes.
Can you vote for that? Yeah.
That's an administrative.
9-0. Yeah.
C4, did you want to remove that now or wait till we go to close and come back out again?
Did you say that before?
I did.
I'll do it now.
Council, just with C4, as I discussed yesterday, we're going to be removing that item from the actual agenda.
Does someone want to move that?
I'm happy to.
Councillor Brumpton.
I move that item C4 tender award bore 21 Reservoir Roma be removed from the agenda and presented at a future meeting. Is that just removed? Yeah.
Seconder for that, councillor Davis. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. So we're going to deal with C.
I move.
We go back into close.
Oh, okay.
And discuss all the previous thing that I moved, except those two agenda items that
okay.
have now been moved out of closed.
Councillor O'Neill moves that we go into closed. Have a seconder, councillor Brumpton. All those in favour? John, going back into closed. Oh. John, can you vote on going back into closed?
Sorry, just wavered. There's been cutting in and out a bit. Yeah, happy to go back to close.
9-0. Right, thanks, sir. To 11.3. 11.3, which is on page 71.
We haven't got our finance people here for 11.3.
Or we can go to.
Put Director Jamie there and Tennille.
Do you want?
I'll get
Brett's gone to get to the...
Madam Mayor?
Oh, no, that's not bad. We'll go on the finance one
They
first.
are just want to get.
Yeah.
Brett's just out, so if you want to do that one, we can. Brett's just going to get, if you want to wait.
Well, we can't just move it.
What's that?
We can't just move to the next one. I've just called 11.3.
What's the next one?
The monthly financial report as of the 31st of December.
I move we lay this on the table until later in the meeting.
Oh, for goodness sake. All those in favour? Oh, just does your head in around here.
Yes.
8-0.
Should we do that other one as well while we're going?
No.
Okay.
Whatever you like, councillor. What would you like to do now?
I would like to move that we remove item C.7 Maranoa Christmas Street Party post-event report from the agenda.
Seconder, councillor O'Neill. All those in favour? Against?
Yes.
It's administrative. Really?
Sorry, can you call it again?
All those in favour? Sorry, John, just again?
Yes.
8-0.
I'll move that we deal with item 14.1 next on the agenda.
Happy to second. Do we need to call it?
You just got to put that. The
Oh, I'll put that to the room?
Yep.
All those in favour?
Sorry, what's that one for?
Just bring
Oh,
it
yeah,
forward,
okay.
put it
Just
forward.
moving it, just laying,
Yeah,
we lay 11.3 on the table, we're now going to 14.1.
Yes, I'm affirmative.
If you can keep up, you're doing very well. 8-0.
Better than just-
I'm going home. 14.1 is a proposal for the Red Ridge Interior Queensland Western Touring Circuit. Now we have questions. Who would like to go first?
I will. Thanks, Mayor. Tennille, have you guys been here before?
Yes.
Years and years?
Yes.
Last year?
So through you, Madam Mayor, we actually started engaging with Red Ridge when I first took on the role as Regional Arts and Culture Officer. So the first performance we actually took on with them was the Wolfgang Circus, which we hosted out at Mitchell. It was very well attended. Councillor Burkett, you may remember attending the Wolfgang Circus. We also did a workshop with the state school, and I have some feedback that I received from the state school regarding that. So they said a huge thanks to Maranoa Regional Council for the opportunity to experience the engaging workshops. Some of these years 5 and 6 may even decide to join the circus. We encourage everyone to attend the circus tomorrow afternoon. The performance, we've seen about 80 plus attend, and it was very well attended and very enjoyed by the people that did attend.
Is it ticketed?
No, it was a free event. We did have it as a free event. We have the option to either ticket or have it as a free event. So that was the first one we did with Red Ridge, and then last year we had the Dirty Fame
Dirty Fame Flash Candle Club that came to Roma. It was a ticketed event which council sold the tickets and earned the profits for that. The feedback I received from that, what talented women, we laughed and laughed, great show, wonderful night. It was absolutely awesome. I loved it. We had about 80 to 100 people in attendance to that one. It was set up so people could bring their own snacks and stuff. So we had lots of tables that had, whether it was pizza or cheese boards, they brought their own drinks and things like that.
It was for adults?
It was for adults.
Not for kids?
Not for kids, no. So it is quite a variety of shows that Redridge provides to us.
Okay.
So Redridge is actually a performance broker. And this year we have... So our first show coming up in March is the Funny Mummies Cabaret, which was here a couple of years back. So they're coming back again. They weren't through Redridge last time, but now they're coming through Redridge. So basically what happens, performances go to Redridge and say, hey, we've got the show, have you got groups that are interested? Redridge then communicate with the councils that are involved, and it's mostly the Western councils that are involved. We then can say, yes, we're interested, no, we're not interested. Redridge then goes back to the performance, works out the schedule, like the dates and the times and all that sort of stuff, come back to us. Yes, we agree to the times. No, we don't agree to the times. They then go in between. They're like the in-between people that do the negotiations. The cost is also discounted, as Redridge is able to get a multi-show discount because they are the ones bringing these shows to quite a number of councils. So this year alone, we've got the Funny Mummies coming in March. We've got another one by Western Standards, which were the ones that brought us the Dirty Dance Fash Flame Club, such a mouthful. Their next show is the Meat Train Murder, which again is an adult show. It's a comedy show. So that's coming in June. We've got Everything Brilliant coming around September. And we also have the Sunshine Coast Comedy Festival, which is going to be going to 3 of our towns. So we have it going to Wallumbilla, Injune and Surat.
You get all that for $3,000?
No, so not quite. No, so we still have to pay the performance fee. But the performance fee is a lesser cost than what they would be if the performer came to us directly. Right. So because they go through Redridge, we get a discounted fee. At the moment, our performance fees for each of these performances are usually like the highest I've seen is about $6,000 and it goes down from there. So for instance, the dearest one that I have on here is the Meat Train Murder, and it's $5,500 for the performance. And then the Sunshine Coast is actually probably one of our cheaper ones, so each performance is $3,500.
So the one last year, it was a ticketed event, you said?
The Dirty Dance, yes, it was.
Did we cover the cost of engaging the
We never cover the cost. It is impossible for us to cover the cost. So we do pay for these performances knowing that it is more for the enjoyment of our community. I always do try to involve a community group that will profit in a fundraising activity. Yep. So for instance, Maranoa, so Funny Mummies, Eva's Place are coming on board to be the fundraiser for this. So they will be the ones that do the tickets. They're the ones that do the food and the drinks. So instead of any money, because the money that we make is always a loss, so rather than it coming back to council as a loss, it's going to them as a fundraising opportunity and supports these community groups that need that extra fundraiser.
Similar to small halls.
Exactly, similar to small halls, yes. So we basically pay the performance fee, but we have a community group come on board that does the tickets and that does the food and the drinks.
They get the ticket money.
They get the ticket money. They get everything.
What budget does this come out of?
It comes out of arts and culture. So I have a arts and culture events budget, and each year I work out the shows that are coming up and how much they are, and put that to council for adoption.
I think your budget just got cut by the look of that face.
She's the first one that's
Sorry, Joe.
So Tennille, this didn't look familiar. The Redridge names didn't look familiar to us.
No.
And so from what I'm thinking is this is the first time this has come to council about the $3,000 annual fee, because it used to be through Regional Arts Services Network, who support it through Arts Queensland.
Yes.
So we used to get funding for these guys.
So Redridge got funding.
Yep.
Redridge was funded by them to support us in this, so we never had to pay them.
And now
But
they
now
know.
that the funding is ending, to continue what they do, they require us to support them to continue the great work that they're doing for us.
Cool. I just had to clarify that, thinking that Councillor O'Neill and
Yeah.
Taylor
no
and I
idea.
missed something, but we're right. This
Yeah,
never has come to council
It's never
before.
come to council. It's never been probably a needed thing to come to council, as it's never cost council anything.
Yeah.
Coming from the position that I've been in, working with Redridge has been such a lifesaver. There is nothing worse than having a performance come to me and go, hey, we've got this fantastic show. They give us the spiel like, oh, that's great. How much is it? Oh, it's $40,000 for one show. I'm like, no. So it does take a lot of pressure off the staff when it is going for a broker, because they are the ones that brokerage the fees for us and make it as low as possible. Maranoa is probably one of the biggest councils they work with. So they work with a lot of the Western councils such as Peru, Merway, Quilpie, Baloo, Baku. So they work with all the smaller Western councils, so they do try and make sure that the cost is quite low. This is the first year that they have been able to provide us with the opportunity to have 5 shows in our region. In the past, it's usually been 3, but this is the first year they've been able to bring 5 shows to us. And we still have the ability to say, yes, we're interested, no, we're not interested in the show that they're
Councillor
providing.
Davis.
Officer Tennille, they've written to us to ask for contribution. 3,000 including or excluding GST?
That is a good question. My guess would probably be excluding.
We've just got to make sure we have the right
Yeah,
resolution
yep,
for
no,
you.
we'll double check that.
And the GL number.
Yeah, so the GL number will probably come up in because it's not funded, it doesn't need to be funded this financial year, it will come up in the budget review. So it'll be a budget line item. And it will probably fall under the membership, under the membership GL, which I can't think off the top of my head what it is. But
When you say it will be for next financial, do they need a commitment from council? Like, you brought this to us now.
yes,
Do they need a commitment from council now
yes,
for next year?
to continue on
So
the
therefore
work.
we
With the
can't,
plan, we can't
we can't
defer it.
consider it, we're actually going to have to
Allocate.
allocate
Allocate
it because,
Yeah.
sorry, Director.
I'd just suggest, councillor, they're probably after an indicative indication as to whether or not you want to continue with the program, because they will be having the same discussions with the other 9 participating councils at this time, and that's, I guess, how they can lock in that $3,000 cost, because they'll need certainty of continuity. Otherwise, if they're to continue the service but only half the amount of councils are participating, well, that figure would be higher. So
And
it's
it
why
needs
the
to come back to
discussion-
us if that's the case.
Yeah, but that's why the discussion is starting now.
So then, therefore, it should be consider, it can be consider, because until they send you an invoice,
We can say approve in principle the ongoing
Yeah.
contribution,
the contribution.
and then depending on what happens with the other councils, won't we, we'll need to,
Councillor O'Neill.
That was the question I was going to
Yeah.
ask. Is it worthwhile reaching out to those other local councils to understand their appetite in this? I mean,
Yeah, so I can definitely confirm all the other councils are very much on board. I went to a workshop there late last year with Redridge and some of the councils that were there, and they could sing nothing but praises for Redridge and the work that they have done for their communities, because it has taken a lot of pressure off staff and have brought some marvellous shows to their communities.
I wonder, now those other councils will be considering it like we are, whether it's worthwhile going back to them to
Yep.
ask whether a decision has been made.
Yep.
Because obviously, Tennille, you're doing what those staff you did collectively, singing the praises, you're singing the praise to us, we're considering it.
Yep.
It'd be nice to understand if the other local councils are jumping on board as well.
Yeah, definitely.
But it sounds like there's been support.
Yep.
There's been support while it's being funded by an external body. It might change given that it's coming back.
Yeah.
And it says contribute 3,000 annually. How many years are you signing up for?
Just one to begin
It
with,
says
and it'll be a more
commencing in July 2025.
Then it says conduct an annual review. the council's membership next month, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering around the dates as well, do we get the first 6
20
months
to-
free when this next performance is in town in March? Because they don't have funding for 6 months, if that's the resolution. we're
Their
voting.
funding
Funding
till June.
ends until in June. So it'll be the
This
financial
support
year.
will end in December
Oh, December.
2024.
I will double check that, but I believe the funding,
This is only commencing in July.
Yeah.
That was my question.
yeah,
Also, it's probably not,
I would say so,
Cal,
yeah.
point 2, approve in principle the ongoing financial, it's not ongoing because this is a new.
The financial contribution estimated at,
Can
yeah.
I also mention something? So a lot of the other councils too, our RADF program is very much taken by community groups. A lot of these smaller regional councils, they use their RADF funding to support the payment fees for their performances. So they don't use council money to pay for the performance fee. They use their regional arts.
That's when a performer is engaged, not this Red Ridge broker.
No, not the Red Ridge broker fee. I will double check with the other councils whether they are also incorporating that into their RADF funding, if their 3,000 contribution is coming from their RADF funding, but I'll double check that with some of the others.
I suppose we do need to check what's happening for the first half of 2025 if
Yes.
that did end in
Well,
December.
we've already locked in, so 2 performances for this
With an amount
first 6
that's
months.
not
No, so we're not
inflated?
paying Red Ridge. We're not paying Red Ridge until July when so what I'll double check this, but I believe their funding contract ended, but they still have like the money has been still given to them to continue the work that they're doing for this 6 months. But we have already, the Funny Mummies one was actually a performance that was meant to happen last year. So we have already signed the contract and already paid Funny Mummies for half of the performance. It unfortunately had to be cancelled due to illness with the performer, but she is now back on track and it's now coming back to us.
Yeah,
So
the
we've,
brokerage components of these 2 performances has already occurred.
yes,
Yeah,
correct.
so that's, yeah.
That's how I'm
Yeah.
interpreting it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the only payments we will be making is the money we will be paying to the performer.
Yeah.
This is about
Which is-
engaging them from July onwards to continue the work. That
Continue the
yeah,
brokerage
yeah,
fees, yes,
So
correct.
because we're not actually saying we're going to spend this money, we're saying improve in principle, we probably don't need drawn from the regional arts and culture budget because we actually don't know if that's where it's going to go because it's probably going to be drawn from membership budget.
Yeah.
So we could probably get rid of that.
Yeah.
So is it estimated or is it?
Financial
we haven't-
Well, it depends on how many sign up. That's why we need to know. It'd be 3,000 if they all sign up,
They all
wouldn't
sign
it?
up,
That's the
yes,
issue we've
yes.
got. Yeah,
Any difference going to come back?
yeah.
Is it commencing the right word in number 2, Tanil? Is it just approve in principle financial contribution for $3,000 for the 2025-26 year? Just not locking us in for the 3 years. This is only the 12 months.
It's
one. I know
only
the
for
second-
12 months to
Yeah.
begin with. It'll be very much like a membership renews every 12 months.
But we'll need to say subject to confirmation of the other council's involvement, and it will need to come back to us.
Well, it's gonna come back to us anyway because it's going to be part of the budget deliberation. So
Yeah.
it's improve in principle the financial contribution under the 3 for the 25-26 financial year. Have subject to further council budget deliberations. Because that's what it is. We've still got to put it all in the mixing pot to work out whether we can afford it. I'm sure we will.
Good to hear, councillor
Well,
O'Neill.
Approve in the bit on, yeah, that's better, Cal. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be estimated 3% for the 25-26 financial year subject to the.
And if you only approve in principle, and it's only an estimate, it has to come back anyway with a GL.
So the annual review and all that, because everything's in principle at the moment, it's not approved.
Yeah.
That wording probably is not correct.
What'd you say? Sorry?
Yeah, we probably don't need number 3 at all.
Or number 1. Oh, no,
No,
Western
you're saying
Tourism,
it's an annual
you need
review.
that,
Yeah.
You do, yeah.
So are we collaborating? Is it primarily with the West for deliver arts and culture performances? Are there other? Is that really true?
Yes, they only bring arts and culture performances.
No,
So
but-
music, whether it's a music like a concert or a performing arts type.
But do we have other arts and culture performances that come out?
We do. Currently, we have Opera Queensland that comes out every year.
That's
which
what I
is
mean. So it's
very-
not primarily.
Do we even need number 4?
I don't think we need that, do we?
So the reason I put that point in there is the amount of performances that come to us requesting we take on their shows is quite substantial, and having that point just allowed the officer going forward to say, oh, I'm really sorry, but we only work, with
But we don't only work with them, do we? 'Cause
we
we've got Opera
well we
Queensland
have
and
Opera
things like that.
Queensland,
Yeah.
yes.
Primarily, not
Yeah,
only.
yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I understand what you're trying to do.
Yep, yep.
Officer Neil, but
They-
I actually don't think it's adding value because there is room to be able to say, I know we can do you, and so they'll still put the pressure on that way.
They
The
do.
operational staff to be able to.
They
decide.
can be quite brutal.
That's just up to. I just don't think that for instance, I guess I'm not comfortable as a councillor to actually say that we're going to primarily engage Western Touring Circuit, because what if we decide that and then
What if
next
this
week something
amazing thing comes up? Yeah, that's right.
Primarily.
Yeah,
not
but
only.
still, it's not.
What I
But
have-
it's setting a tone to other people
Yeah.
who might not want to come to our,
Yeah.
might not want to offer services to us.
What I have done in the past, if I have had a performance that looks really good, I have referred them on to the Western Touring Circuit to discuss the performance so they could go to be a part of that and travel further out west. And then we're not also slogged with the massive fee that they give their performance.
Might I suggest you could say collaborate where appropriate with Western Downs Touring Circuit to deliver arts and cultural performances region-wide?
Because I don't think we should be limiting, because that can be seen as us not giving people fair and equitable access to us. I mean, I know what you're trying to say to give.
I like that wording.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
better.
So I think.
And Redridge is only a brokering service. They're not a performance. Like, they don't perform themselves.
Well, yeah, what happens if another brokerage service comes that offers this a fantastic deal with all these? That's what I'm worried about. Yeah.
Mayor,
Yes, sorry.
I'm going to move that Council 1 continues its involvement with the Western Touring Circuit. 2, approve in principle a financial contribution estimated at $3,000 for the 2025-26 financial year, subject to further council budget deliberations. 3, conduct an annual review of council's membership with the Western Touring Circuit moving forward.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Vincent, would you like to speak, councillor?
No, thank you.
Would anyone like to speak? Councillor O'Neill. Hancock.
Okay, thank you. Just quickly, I just want to acknowledge the importance of arts and culture across our region, which I'm sure every single councillor believes in that as well. Do understand from what the officer is saying that quite often with arts and culture performances that council do run them at a loss, but I believe that the benefit to the community to be able to provide them with this arts and culture performances out to our communities, and not only to Roma but into our regions, actually it outweighs the negativity of a loss for council, because the benefit is actually still to the community. And that's why I'll support this. I also will support it because it is a membership fee for a brokerage that actually supports our staff in their role and also provides us with discounted performances to come out to our region, and that is why I'm going to support this today.
Anyone else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0.
Madam Mayor, may I just say something as well, please? I just want to formally apologise to council for missing my report this morning. I do not like being late for things, and I apologise that I missed it this morning and wasn't able to answer these questions on the spot.
You're forgiven, Tanil.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tanil.
Thank you. And once again, you look really lovely.
I got told by an artist today that I'm a walking art piece.
But can we go on to 11.3? Is that acceptable?
Yes, please.
You're chairing the show.
Yeah, really? Right, what did we have on notice?
So I was asking about the fact that we're much more overexpended than anticipated and what the outcome of the finalisation of the Event 13 flood acquittal would mean to that change of the value approximately of how that will change our position for the next month.
For the next month or to the end of the year? I
Well,
can give you
how soon? It said well, I suppose tell me when as well, because I assumed it was in this month, but maybe it's not by the sound of it.
So the forecast up to the end of the year, so we're expecting to receive
Last year or this year?
this financial year.
Yeah.
So we've I'm talking up to June 2025 between now and then. So we're expecting Event 13 will receive an extra $11 million in cash. We will recognise that $11 million as revenue. We've already spent, recognised in materials and services and employee costs $11.5 million. So you see that in your actuals there. So that's one of the main reasons why you've got such a high percentage of materials and services versus the revenue up above. Also to the end of this year, where...
Sorry, Claire, just one thing. The 11.5, is it already in there, in that figure that we have
Yes.
at the moment?
Yes.
Okay, righto.
Yeah. So we've shown the expenses. We're not showing the revenue yet.
Yep.
For Event 15 and 16, which we're currently working on at the moment, we've expensed, or we're showing here on the figures in the actuals, around $4 million in expenses. In the revenue side, the grants and subsidies, we are reflecting $3.6 million. So we are on, at today's best estimate, we are on track to meet the revenue and materials and expenses budget for Event 15 and 16 to the end of the year. What we don't have in the current budget is that Event 13. So we're not currently reflecting the $11 million in revenue, or the $11.5 million in expense in the current budget. So we will, at the end of the year, the forecast would be that overall for both, for all of the events at the end of this year, we should be, the net impact will be around a $1 million profit.
So that hasn't accounted for the fact that we're so far over. That's not our reason. Well, if you're only talking about $1 million difference...
In profit overall, net effect. Because we've got...
net profit bottom line.
Yeah, bottom line I'm giving you as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rightio.
But just talking about revenue and the expenses, we have recorded or recognised more expenses than the revenue. So we will see more revenue come in by the end of the year.
For Event 13.
For Event 13.
Event 13 only. Event 15 and 16, we've got it balanced.
Yeah.
It's Event 13 that is out.
Event 13, but it's a revenue for Event 13.
Correct, yes. Yeah.
So if the other two, if
We
the,
recognised, yeah.
if the 15, 16 are basically even themselves out,
Yeah.
basically that bottom line for minus 9,789, if you add the 11 million in revenue, we should come out in front.
Which is the million that Fleur.
Which is the million Fleur's talking about, approximately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, when we developed the budget, we knew,
Yeah.
but we weren't. We have taken the position that the flood.
Oh, yeah, I get that. Yeah. But I'm just saying if most of the expenses in that 11.5 are already in there, but the revenue's not in there, you're only down 0.5, aren't you?
Yes.
So far, anyway.
Yeah. And just another point, it's not really reflected in the profit and loss that you're looking at, the income and expenditure report that you're looking at, but we have already received $11 million in cash for Event 15 and 16. That's currently sitting in our balance sheet, so we will recognise that as we expend the employee costs or materials and services.
Is that what received for that?
Pardon?
When was that received?
Oh, at
In
the...
that December report, is that... You won't see it anymore. It'll show next.
So we don't really currently report on cash flow movements. So when we receive the cash in, so what QRA do, they pay 10% at the beginning of when the works are approved. So we record that in the balance sheet, and then we recognise it as revenue as we incur the expenses. And then at the end of the program, QRA withhold roughly 10% until they get through all of the submissions and paperwork. So that's what's happening with Event 13. We've got that funds still to be paid.
Hopefully next financial year we're going to account for things slightly differently to be less confusing.
Yeah. Councillor Davis.
Can I just ask a question about the materials and services on page 72? 21% over budget, and it says refer to commentary below. What commentary?
That's what we're talking about.
What is that?
Yeah, that's the
we've
commentary.
talked about? Right.
Sorry.
So where was that though in the report?
It's on.
Is it flood recovery?
Yes, that flood recovery
Yeah.
commentary.
Righto.
Yeah, sorry, that's the commentary. That's why I said it needs to be clearer, right, with an exec summary at the start, so you're not trying to search through and find out what it's actually referring to.
Yeah, agreed. Good point.
You're right, councillor. You're right. Everybody else right? Meryl, you're looking to move, councillor?
Yes, I had moved it already. Oh, but then I laid it back on the table. Okay, so I'll remove it, do I? That council receive and note the monthly financial report for the period ended 31st of December 2024.
Second, councillor Davis. Anyone like to speak?
Don't think
We'll
we
go to
need
the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Mayor, can I move that we deal with item C5 next, please?
Not a problem. C5, yes, 31.
Do you need to second it?
Just need a second.
Oh,
change.
somebody,
Sorry, Brendan's seconding that.
I'll second it.
Councillor Seawright, all those in favour to move to C5?
Yes.
8-0.
Does the C5 still say C5 with the removal of C4?
Yeah, still says C5.
Item formally referred to as C5.
Yes. C5, Denise Spencer Memorial Pool Management Agreement. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks, Mayor. I'd like to move that Council 1 enact clause 23.2 of the Denise Spencer Swimming Pool Management Agreement and undertake relevant discussions with the lessee regarding a contract end date of the 22nd of April 2025. 2, notify the public, including pool stakeholders, that the Denise Spencer Memorial Pool will close from the 4th of April 2025 in line with the end of school term 1 and in June Wallumbilla and Surat pools to enable the redevelopment of the Roma Denise Spencer Memorial Aquatic Centre. Redevelopment of the Roma Denise Spencer Aquatic Centre.
Yeah.
3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to execute relevant documentation.
I have a seconder. Councillor Brompton, would you like to speak, councillor?
Thanks very much, Mayor. From the outset, I want to thank our lessee at the Roma Pool for managing what is a really important community asset for the last contract, but longer than that. The lessee in Stacey has been there for some time. This is obviously a step that we need to take, given that it has reached a point where we do need to invest significant public money, both council and government and industry, into a major overhaul and upgrade to the Roma Pool. It has served this community since 1960. And we all know, given that this has not been an overnight decision, that the time has come that our community and the generations in front of our current community deserve an upgrade to this important facility, and an upgrade that will bring in additional features to the Roma Pool. And one I hope that is going to have much broader impacts than just a new pool for our town. And I think this is an exciting opportunity for our community, particularly in and around the state government's push to see regional Queensland benefit from the 2032 Olympics. So with all of that, we are in a perfect time with the right recipe to see our community benefit from that. So this is the first step of a number that Council's going to have to take over the next weeks to ensure that we are progressing this project. And I urge all councillors to support it. Again, I'll close how I started and thank our lessee for the work that they've done in managing this asset over the last number of years.
Thank you. Anybody against? Anyone else like to speak for? Councillor Hancock.
Thanks, Madam Mayor. I concur with everything Councillor O'Neill said, but just want to pass on again my thanks to Stacey the lessee for her management of the Roma pool within the contract that she had. And I just actually wanted to say thank you very much.
Anybody else like to speak?
Yes, Madam Mayor.
When you're ready, Councillor.
Yeah, I'm in agreement, and I do endorse what Councillor O'Neill's words. I too would like to thank Stacey for all the years she's been there. I know there's been a lot of difficulties with the state of the pool and the extra hours, and she did get us out of a bind when we couldn't get a contractor. So thanks very much, and all the best in the future, whatever that may have.
Thank you. You're right, Councillor.
Madam Mayor, I'm just wondering to Councillor O'Neill, just looking at point 2, should it be to enable the redevelopment of the Denise Spencer Aquatic Centre? Because up the top it's that the Denise Spencer Memorial Pool, and then it's like, I just wonder if we really need the word Roma.
Happy to remove Roma.
Yeah. Because Roma is just where it is the town it's in, but it's actually... Yeah, thank you.
What was the second? Just happy.
Anybody else like to
I'm happy.
speak?
I was the seconder.
You're right. Well, we'll go. Do you want to sum up?
No, thank you.
We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
Yes.
Oh, sorry, John. 8-0. C1, request waiver of gas reconnection fee 50001,684. Do I have a mover? Councillor Davis.
I move that Council 1, receive and note the request. 2, not approve a waiver of the natural gas reconnection fee. 3, advise their account holder that all available avenues were taken by Council in accordance with the Utilities Debt Recovery Policy.
Have a seconder? Councillor Seawright. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
No, thank you.
Would anyone like to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. C2, request for extension of rates payment arrangement 140111738. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I move that Council 1, receive and note the request. 2, approve a temporary payment arrangement on rate assessment 140111738 of $100 per fortnight. 3, advise the ratepayer that no modification will be made to this arrangement, and if a payment is missed, the payment arrangement will be automatically cancelled and further debt recovery will be imminent. 4, advise the ratepayer that a review of the progress of the temporary payment arrangement at the end of each month will be undertaken. 5, advise the ratepayer that at the end of this temporary payment arrangement, any balance outstanding must be paid in full on or before the 31st of December 2025 unless otherwise approved by way of council resolution.
That's it. Seconded by Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
No, thank you. I just, did I have a seconder then?
You did.
Did we have there was no further appetite?
Yeah, that's the next one.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Anyone want to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. C3, request for extension to make payment 13007794. Councillor Brompton.
I move that Council 1, receive and note the request. 2, approve an extension for the payment arrangements as proposed by the ratepayer. 3, advise the ratepayer that all outstanding rates and charges, including interest, must be paid in full on or before the 30th of June 2025. 4, advise the ratepayer that interest will continue to accrue as per Council's revenue statement, noting that the debt recovery process will remain on hold until 1st of July 2025. 5, advise the ratepayer that council has no further appetite for a further extension and advise that should full payment not be received by the due date, council's debt recovery process will recommence.
Seconder, councillor Hancock. Would you like to speak, councillor?
No.
Would anyone like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Now we're up to C6. Quarry Business January 2025 report. Councillor Hancock.
I move that council receive and note the officer's report as presented.
A seconder. Councillor Seawright. Would you like to speak, councillor?
Yes, thank you. I would just like to say thank you to our CEO, Rob Hayward, and his staff for bringing this quarry report forward. Look forward to seeing them at the council table on a monthly basis.
Anyone else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. I'm up to C8, is that right? Yep. Surat unoccupied state land. Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 decline the department's current offer to purchase EG 247 Lot 124 at this time. 2, continue to work with local developers to provide opportunities to increase private housing stock in Surat. 3, review the Maranoa Regional Council Queensland Housing Strategy 2021 to 2025 Local Housing Action Plan at an upcoming briefing.
Have a seconder. Councillor Davis, would you like to speak, councillor?
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Madam Mayor. I originally brought this report to council because the community has been very concerned about how Surat grows. And so therefore, this started the conversation with the state on that land that is stock root land. I'm happy with the recommendation that's put up, that we don't accept their offer, but I'm also very confident for my community of Surat that we have started a conversation and it is not going anywhere. And so there is still a plan which we will look at in the housing strategy to safeguard the future development of not only the Surat community but all the communities in the Maranoa.
Anyone else like to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Councillor, are you?
Got to go.
Councillor O'Neill is just leaving the room. Councillor Seawright.
I'd like to put forward a motion without notice. I've received a request from the Jackson CWA that there's a bunch of memorial trophies and shields, historic ones, currently housed in the Jackson Library, and they wish to just transfer them, move them to the QCWA in Jackson for display. If I could.
We just have to put that on.
Yeah, adopt that. To move that.
Okay, so I need a seconder.
So this is a moving to put a motion without notice called Jackson CWA onto the agenda.
Yeah.
Happy to second that.
Yeah, Jackson QCWA. We'll just name it that, if that's all right? Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, so moved by councillor Seawright, seconded by councillor Hancock. All those in favour, putting it on the agenda?
Yes.
7-0.
I'll just pick
now-
up a typo. It says Haxon instead of Jackson, Kel, in that exact summary.
Last word.
Last word.
Okay.
What are we calling this? What number, Cal? It will be. It will be. Is it 14.2?
14.2.
Or is it 15.1?
Or does it go under councillors? Yep, okay.
But it's not a local. It's not a local area director. It's a councillor's.
Oh, no, I was going to say it will end up under that area to deal with. It doesn't really matter what we number it.
Okay. So we're just going to call it Jackson QCWA. Have you got a motion, councillor?
Yes. Is that, yep. I move that council approve for the Jackson CWA to take over caretaking of historic community trophies and shields currently housed at the Jackson Library and move them to the Jackson QCWA Hall for display.
Second is Councillor Brumpton. Would you like to speak, Councillor?
I would thank you, Mayor. Just in regards, I mean, it came to light after Australia Day. I attended a local event and they spoke to me about this. And to be honest, I'd never seen these trophies at all. Being that the Jackson Library is only open one day a week, it's more beneficial for the community and especially outsiders to come along and appreciate it at the Jackson QCWA. They often have their scone days and drop-ins and also monthly events. So I think it's just a brilliant initiative for them to actually just move them to somewhere more visible to for us to actually recognise some of the history that is embedded in such a one of our smaller communities in the area.
Very good. Anyone else? Councillor
Just have a question. They are council property.
No, they're not council property. They're community shields such as tennis club, cricket club. They're just council's been in caretaking, I guess, since those clubs folded for such long, and it's just I feel like it's an official way of moving them, and it's just recorded that they have been, removed from. And I think there was I can't be certain, but I thought there was a expressions of interest asked of them if they wanted to, of the QCWA, if they wanted to take possession, but they've actually formally come to me and asked me for that, permission to move them.
So they belong to community?
Yeah, basically they are community trophies. I did obviously check with Linda this morning some of the wording on them, and they do have, there's a shield from 1936 for the Jackson Cricket Club. All those kind of, just local, nothing that's irrelevant to council, so to speak. That it's not a council trophy.
Do we write to any currently operating community clubs, sharing with them council's decision to move them?
There's no current community clubs in that area.
There wouldn't be any.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
Definitely
been
historical.
forgotten, I'd
So
say.
thank you very much for the question.
All right. Anyone else like to speak? We'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
7-0. Is there any more business anybody would like to talk about? Well, I'll close the meeting at 12:19 and I thank you for your attendance. Thanks, Zara.